It's time for me to get another salt lamp. I feel like that was the vibe of the podcast. That salt lamp, man. Now without it, I feel naked, man. I feel like there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no feeling. There's no character in my setup. Happy September, people. Wake me up when September ends. I remember I went to go get my haircut this past week, and I was talking to my barber, and I had a few epiphanies. So he's a skater, and I relate September with my birthday, but I relate September with Green Day, obviously for very obvious reasons. Green Day, September, wake me up when September ends, and I also relate it to skateboarding because growing up I went through a phase where I was into skateboarding. So that's nothing special, just a typical terrible intro to a terrible podcast. But we hit a huge milestone this past week, so thank you everybody for that. We're probably going to hit 450 reviews for the podcast on Apple. Once again, thank you so much for that. If you guys are listening right now, just go ahead and give it a rating, a review, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, do your thing, whatever. Follow me on all my social medias. All the links are in the bio or in the description of the video below. So if you want to go there, check it out. That will help me tremendously. How was everyone's weekend? I hope everyone had a solid weekend. I know for me, I'm recording this on a Thursday, so I haven't even moved into the weekend yet, but school has begun. I feel like this podcast is just when I'm in school, when I'm not in school. But I've been doing it long enough now where you guys kind of figure out my routine. If you really wanted to, if you really wanted to creep out, you could definitely figure out my routine. Pretty simple, not a complicated life. But yeah, it's been an interesting month so far. I know I've been so the last podcast episode was financial stability, talking about what to do with your money. But this is it, man. This is why people are weary of the market. The past Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm sure Monday and today, you guys are watching this, the market has been plummeting, which is super obvious. I think I'm pretty sure that was expected. Get caught up in this euphoric world where you're making so much money in the market, and everybody is. So everybody starts looking around like, fuck, this seems like it's too good to be true. And then once a huge investor sells off some of the shares, or once a huge person who owns a lot of stake in a lot of companies decides to start selling, then it starts. It's like the beginning of the race, dude. I've never really thought about it. I knew it was going to come. But the market was going so well for so long, and I think it finally hit a point where it's nosediving, and it's been nosediving for the last 4 or 5 trading days, which isn't a bad thing. For me personally, I enjoy, I'm kind of, of course there's part of me where, since I can see my money, because I use Robinhood so I can see my money continuously fall, there's a part of me that goes well, fuck, man. I don't want to lose money, obviously. It's just you don't want to just give away money to somebody. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, when the market's dropping, it's because people are selling. Let's just take $1,000 stock of company ABC. ABC is $1,000 company all the time. Over the just steady growth. Steadily got to $1,000. No explosive growth anywhere. It's just a nice steady rise. And then there's a huge market spike where the market shoots up to $2,000 in 4 months or 2 months, like Tesla, for example. Everyone's buying because everyone's trying to get a quick profit. They're trying to sell as the stock goes up, and then trying to resell it as it starts when it looks like it's going to start going down. And that's what happened with this is tech companies, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, the whole tech industry was completely exploding. So a bunch of people were buying and buying and buying and buying, looking to make a quick profit. And once there was a sign that, wait a second, maybe the company's gonna start stalling. Well, once that kicks in a little bit and one person sells, it's an exponential growth of selling. So then you see the market crash. Now, if you don't sell when the market's crashing, you're not going to lose your money, right? Because you don't lose money until you sell, right? So even if let's say you put $1,000 in the market and it goes so bad, and let's say you make $200, well, even if you lose $400, and as long as you don't sell, you technically haven't lost any money. Until you sell, you haven't lost money. By the way, not an expert at all with any of this. Don't take advice from me. But for me personally, when I saw the market going down, and as it continues to go down, I went ahead and I purchased more stocks. Like I purchased more higher hold into each one of my my ETFs that I own. I only own 2 ETFs. That's my portfolio. It's just made up of QQQ, which is top 100 NASDAQ tech companies. Then I own the S&P. So for me, I bought, not going to say that the money, but I bought more of each stock when the market was down 2% for me, and now it's down like 8%. So when Monday morning comes, I'm probably going to buy more of each. Monday and Tuesday, I'm probably going to buy a higher hold, a higher stake in each one of my ETFs, because where it was, it's going to get up to eventually, right? It's going to, so let's say it dropped down to $800, just company ABC dropped down to $800. Well, unless they go bankrupt, it's going to eventually get back to $1,000 most of the time. I mean, obviously there's exceptions to it, but most of the time it's going to get back to $1,000. So if you buy it at $800, well then that $200 from that one purchase is going to be profit for you. And then when it goes to $1,200, it's $400. You see what I mean? So basically what I'm trying to say is right now the market is shitting the bed, but I am a big believer of buying the dip. Like Warren Buffett has that amazing quote, which I think is two amazing quotes. One is the hardest thing about investing is holding and not selling. And then the other one was the one that I love the most is buy a $1 stock. Try to buy a $1 stock when it's selling for 66 cents. And basically what he's saying is when it's 33% off, when it's down 33 cents, go ahead and buy it, because there's a 33 cents margin of profit from 66 cents. And it's so counterintuitive, but I think this is how the rich get richer. This is how they get richer, when they see the market going down, because they can control the market. If you have a 2% stake in Tesla, or if you have a 2% stake in Amazon or Microsoft or whatever, you go off and sell. Let's say you sell it. Everybody else starts selling because you have such a huge impact. And then you go buy up a bunch of fucking shares again, And this is how the rich get richer, because they can afford, they have the capital to spend. They have the capital to throw away, but they will rebuy it, And I think it's kind of fucked, honestly. Like, there's part of it where it's like, well, that's not cool. Like, they shouldn't be able to do that. But at the same time, that's just what it is. And it's gonna level off eventually. And then when it does, people are gonna be happy again. But there's always growth. It just all depends about your perspective, where you look, how you look at it. You're looking at it from a bird's eye view, or you're looking at it right up in front of it. If you're looking at it right up in front of it, then yeah, you're gonna be scared, and you're gonna sell, and you're gonna try to make quick profits. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's we need people, we need the people that are in it for the quick profit, for people like me who are in it for, a long term to make the most money possible. But yeah, I just kind of want to talk about that. I know like my last episode and this episode are kind of financial stuff, but when I started this podcast and I'm on episode 120 now, I've never done an episode where I'm trying to get views, right? I'm trying to do the best I can to get the most eyes on my podcast, but I like to talk about the state of my life right now and what I'm really focusing on. And with that being said, I can't just not talk about the market for myself because I feel like I'm lying to you guys. So that's why I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk to you guys about the market, because it's something that's really important to me, and I find it's very fun. It's very interesting to do. I like the analytics. I like watching the money change. I enjoy that stuff. So I want to share it with everybody on the podcast. But I also made a Facebook page, so if you guys want to go and check that out, I think it's like just Michael Lab Show Facebook page. That would be awesome if you guys want to hook me up with maybe like the page or something. That would make me a very happy person. But besides that, man, I've been, school has been nonstop. It's really weird. Like the way the school systems are set up right now is everything's online. For me, so I'm a business major. So all my classes seem pretty much the same, which by me saying that, it's probably a bad sign that I'm not really paying attention as much as I could have. But like when in certain fields of school, there's, different programs, and within the program of business, you have to really branch out into everything. So if you want to be a marketing major, well, you're going to have to take finance classes. You're going to take management classes. You're going to take finance classes. You're going to take accounting classes, human resource classes, just all the business type classes. And then once you get to like your last year and a half, you start really you start narrowing the gap, bottlenecking into what your actual degree is going to be. And my actual degree is going to be entrepreneurship, which I find very maybe polarizing is the word I'm looking for. Not really. It's an interesting major that I chose. I think I chose it because it required the lowest GPA, and since I dropped out of school and I didn't drop any of my classes, my GPA has completely just fucking shit the bed because of that. And I'll say it again. I recommend, if you're gonna drop out of school, to drop your classes. Don't just kind of stop going to school. That's it doesn't work out in the end. It's a bad idea. And drop your classes first. Also, probably don't drop out of school. I think you should decide if you actually want to go to school. I don't know. That's time for a different podcast. But financially, stay in school. Maybe not. Like, I don't know, because there's a lot of, you can get yourself in serious debt, and then when you take a loan from the bank, they put so much interest on your loan, and you can never, it's always going to be there. You die with your student loans. It's one of the only loans that you can't file bankruptcy for. One of your only debts that you can't file bankruptcy for. But that's for a different time. But with like I was saying, with like business, it's a lot different, because once you start getting like I have 3 semesters left, including this semester, and I'm at the point now where all my classes seem like the same. Like, just for example, I'm taking which is also funny, because in all my classes we had to like share like something that we're like proud of, or something that like makes us unique. And actually, one of my classes I gave a shout out to the podcast. So it would be really fascinating if anybody actually from any of my classes now watches the podcast, which I don't think they would, but if they did, that would be strange. It'd be a weird dynamic. But if they do, thank you for doing it, fellow Towson Tiger people. Yeah, so like my classes, I'm taking like a supply management class, I think. I don't think it's like it's operational management class. I'm taking a data information analyzing data information class, entrepreneurship class, And then there's like 2 other classes I'm taking too, and they just all seem like the same thing, you know. And it's easier when you're in person, because when you're in person, by you literally walking to a different location, changing a classroom, you can get in a different mindset. Oh, I'm now taking fill in the blank class, you know, or I have this specific class on a specific day. So when I wake up on Wednesday, I know I'm not taking accounting, I'm taking marketing. And it allows you to, in your head, to deconceptualize, departmentalize. I don't know, but to put certain classes in certain in their own categories. But when everything's online, you just kind of, it doesn't exist. You just feel like you're constantly, you know, spinning your wheels, and you don't really feel like you're making progress, you know, because there's always, like, they just kind of give all the homework assignments out. So there's always more homework assignments you can do. Like, I think I'm like a month ahead of schedule for all my classes. But even knowing I'm a month ahead of my schedule for all my classes, I still feel like I should be applying myself more for all my classes, when in reality, I think I'm really good where I stay. And then you always have that anxious feeling of, holy shit, maybe there's like a project right now that everybody else in my class knows about, and I haven't even started it yet. And then one day you're going to get on a Zoom, they're going to be like, oh, hopefully that project was easy enough for you. And be like, fuck, I didn't know what project it was. So, but besides that, it's been good. You know, just trying to balance everything out with that and school and whatever. Finally got my tax returns. It was really fascinating. At first I was like, fuck, man, where are my tax returns? And then I started like questioning, well, maybe I already got them back. You know, maybe I was like, well, maybe I already got them back, and I just didn't pay attention to my bank account. The hypocrisy there is hilarious, because I did a podcast all about financial stability. And I was like, well, fuck, maybe I did get back my tax returns. I just wasn't aware of it. But turns out I convinced myself, it's not going to be until next year. I also actually convinced myself that I wasn't going to get them back ever. Which then I told someone that, they're like, well, it's your money. I was like, yeah, I know, but like, it's, you know, I know it's my money, but sometimes I just don't trust like the government to really hook me up like that. But they did, which was nice, which is a cool little surprise to wake up to. I don't know what else is going on. Football's starting soon. I think that's interesting. Football's weird though, right? It's like, I don't know, like the number of cases, I don't really know what it was. I feel like coronavirus lately has been, hopefully this doesn't get me like in trouble by YouTube, but I feel like it's really been dying out. I really do. I feel like the hype, maybe I shouldn't say hype, but maybe the punch, the connotation that coronavirus used to carry, I feel like it's dying out slowly but surely. And I don't know why it is. I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's just the simple fact that the news outlets have really reduced the amount of coverage they give to coronavirus. But I just feel like it's kind of almost out of sight right now. Like, nobody's really talking about it. It doesn't seem to be spiking that much throughout the country. And a lot of it probably has to do with the fact that we have been taking strong measures against the spread of it. But I don't know. I just feel it's really fascinating, because whenever you have anything major go, like just for example, just today, if I Googled news around the world today, I'm sure I would, today is September 4th, September 8th on the day you guys are watching this, and I Googled, just Google it right now, grab your phone and Google it, and Google news for today, world news today. You'll find so many things that are disturbing, so many things that are shocking, so many things that you're like, well, why aren't we talking about this? And it's really fascinating. I think the world after coronavirus is going to be, it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people who had a lot of trust in their news sources, their news outlets, where they went for information, it's slowly fading. I think people are really losing a lot of confidence in that, and it's sad. It's a sad thing when you think about it, but it's also a good thing because I think people have so long developed their own opinions on things, claiming that they're their own, but failing to realize just how strong they're actually developed from other sources. Which I know for me, I'm like that too. Like a lot of things that I do or say or act or even think about are bits and pieces from the people around me, but at the same time, I will, just because I hear something, I don't take it for face value. I think I do take it for face value. I put like the words through a filter in my head, like, well, that doesn't make sense, or is that the only way to view this thing, or should you view it a different way? And I find that to be very healthy. And I think what's going to come out of coronavirus more than anything is going to be that. It's going to be people are going to lose faith and trust in major media outlets, and they're going to have to find it somewhere else. I don't know. And I also really do think, and I've said this out loud a few times, and people look at me like I'm crazy, but I think I stand by it. The idea that once the presidential election is over with, a lot of things are going to subside. And I've said this fucking thousands of times. Somebody I work with told me that. And it's fascinating because on one hand, you're like, well, that's a good thing, right? On one hand, you're like, well, that would be cool if everything kind of just dispersed, in a whole different universe, if this same thing was taking place and November 4th comes around. I think that's when the president is elected. And then November 5th, everyone wakes up and Donald Trump is still the president. Well, in that situation, I think people are going to be pissed off for a year or so. But then it's going to come to the point where people are going to they're going to be like, well, we just have 3 more years of this. And it sucks for everybody. It's a bummer for a lot of people. But we just have 3 more years of this. We can get through this. And then we can vote in a new president. Because the next president, if Donald Trump wins, is going to be a Democrat. And then if Donald Trump loses and Biden wins, the next president after that in 4 years is going to be a Republican if Biden doesn't win again, because that's just kind of, it always goes Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. And I find that very fascinating too, because I don't know, people overall want what they don't have, or want what they are not, or get very bored with what they currently have. And I think, the president is a very good example of that. I think if you look historically, we always go back and forth and Democrat to Republican, Democrat to Republican. I don't think that's just, a coincidence. I think that's how people function, like even if Obama won again, Obama still wouldn't have an easy time because people want peace, right? People love the idea of thinking that they want peace. But I don't really think humans want peace, and I see it all the time. And this is the one viewpoint I have on a lot of things that I think goes against what a lot of people believe in. I don't think peace is possible, and I think if peace was possible, we wouldn't actually enjoy it as much as we think we would enjoy it. As much as it's one of those things that if it does happen, it's like when you hear really rich people get rich, and then like years go by, like, well, it wasn't actually that fulfilling. It wasn't what it was said to be. And I find the same thing with peace. And even in countries where peace is very prominent, there's still a large majority of people that don't want it, that they fight against it. And I almost think that's like natural human behavior to shake it up a little bit. And when things are going well, you have to add some type of, it's like multiple class clowns, in a peaceful room, people are taking their test, and the one kid lifts up a fucking left butt cheek and just farts out the side. It's peaceful, but there has to be some type of turmoil. And like humans love turmoil, self-sabotagement. You're in a beautiful relationship, but you just cheat on your partner because you don't know why. Well, no one really knows. And I think that's something that is what I was saying about the presidential race, is that once all this fades, I think just as quick as we were able to, as a lot of people were able to turn against President Trump and say things about him and do things towards him, and the same way where people were doing that with President Obama, and people were doing that with President George Bush, and child molester Bill Clinton, and so forth, you're going to see it with whoever the next president is. This is just a state of humans. And I honestly, I stand by this, that the biggest thing that's separating this administration versus all other administrations is this thing right here. The phone is absolutely changing us. It literally is changing us. Like, it's changing humans in every possible way, socially, psychologically. I'm not a scientist at all, but I would say our neurology is changing. Our chemical makeup is literally changing every day. I mean, every day you wake up, you grab your phone and you're just flooded with dopamine. You're just flooded with so much information that it changes your heart rate. It changes your blood pressure. It changes your chemical balance in your brain. And I think we're living in a world right now where we're not designed, we're not supposed to be in constant connection with each other. If we weren't in constant connection with each other, I think there would be a lot more stability in this world. I really do. I think coronavirus it would still have its effects when it comes to being an upper respiratory sickness, but I don't think it would have its effects socially, which is so sad. Like, it's really sad to think that because of technology, coronavirus has turned into a social pandemic rather than just a medical pandemic. And it's I don't know, it's disappointing, right? It's disappointing that it's changed people completely. It's really disappointing when you see people yelling at each other on the streets or in all these YouTube viral videos or Twitter videos of people just cussing each other out because they're refusing to wear a mask, or because, I've even seen ones where someone's wearing a mask and some fucking asshole, and because that's what they are, is like yelling at them for not wearing, for wearing a mask, calling them a sheep and shit. Like, what, like that idea of a grown man or a grown woman, fuck it, it's mostly men that are doing this because they probably are very insecure. Like, you got to understand, like, these people who are yelling at other people to take their fucking mask off because you're a sheep, like, very stunted human beings do that. Emotionally, I say stunted because it's in every aspect. It's emotionally, it's mentally, it's intellectually. They're bounded. They've already fully developed. Physically, they're probably not in control of their body. And I find, and this is something I've always stated, and I still stand by, I find that physical appearance is a huge indicator of someone's mental state. And I find it very interesting when I make that assertion, that's not the word, that people give me pushback for it, because I don't know. I really do believe that your body is a representation of your life, or it is, like, it fucking is. And it is because people who, you see it on Instagram where you talk about, I don't really want to get into it, but the way that you look indicates the way that everything else in your life is going. Yeah, I think you guys can fill in everything else that I would say. I'm not going to say, because I just think that's time for a different podcast, and I don't really want to get into it right now, but it is sad to see people yelling at each other for listening to the rules, because nowadays listening to the rules makes you a sheep, which makes you lesser of a person. And don't get me wrong, I do agree with a lot of things. I do think that the whole process of dealing with coronavirus could have been dealt with better. But have we ever experienced this before? No. Has our government ever experienced this before? No. Do we know what coronavirus is? No. Do we know the long-term effects of it? No. We don't know any of this. So it's really fascinating that a coronavirus has been placed, the blame has been placed on one administration, on people, on a person, instead of looking around each other and be like, why is this person freaking the fuck out on this poor lady because she's not wearing a mask? This is our world. This is our society. We've created this. Why have we created this? I think a lot of it has to do with just the constant yelling and constant need to be heard on social media. How are you heard on social media? I could put up a video right now. I could put up a 10-minute Instagram story of me talking about how lovely it was the first time I met my girlfriend. You know, how beautiful she was, how I loved her voice, how the presence of her just felt like a nice, beautiful, light snowfall in the early morning of February with coffee, with breakfast cooking. That it felt like that the first time I was with her, but that wouldn't get me views. It just wouldn't get me views. And if my whole goal was to get views, then I wouldn't do that. But if I say, well, fuck this bitch, she did this to me, I fucking hate her, women suck, they all suck, I can't trust anybody anymore, like, I'm going to be this way for the rest of my life, fuck girls. That would get me a lot of views. That would get me a lot of views. That would give me a lot of attention. And that would then I would build my whole brand off of being that way, of acting someone I'm not. And then you build a whole entire brand off of something that you never did. You just you went viral one time, you got more hits than you normally did. So it's that feedback loop. And that's what you do forever, because that's what got you success in the first place. And it's fucked. It's a fucked situation. You can't blame anybody for anything. Like you can definitely give a large percentage of blame to a lot of people, but I think I think people have to start realizing that when you yell at somebody, or when you criticize somebody, or when you say something, and I'm guilty of this too. I critique people. A lot of times it's in a joking manner. A lot of the times I'm just completely joking. I'm just, trying to get a laugh, or it all depends what environment I am in. But it's such a basic rule. But I think a lot of people forget it, that when you act a certain way to somebody, when you say something to somebody, when you call somebody out for something, whatever it is, well, you're calling out somebody, and I'm sure you have done things in your life that you probably don't want people to know about, and when you think that because you got to it first, when you call somebody out first on something, or when you said something to hurt another human, and you're just doing that so you can climb this emotional value ladder, well, you're fucked. Because I guarantee it's going to come right back to you. And whatever you're hiding, whatever this life, this image that you're walking around with, whether it's tight shoulders, or whether it's this belly you have, or your addiction to going out every single weekend, or the cigarettes that you smoke, whatever it is, whatever your front is, that's covering up your deep, covering up secrets that you're ashamed of, that you would never want anybody to know, and you would never tell somebody. Well, if you hurt somebody else and you tell the world about this person, or if you film somebody doing something that is probably not the best thing, it's going to come right back to you. And that's just the truth. And the reason why that's the truth, it used to sound all hippie shit. People would say, oh, fucking karma. Cool, I get it. But nowadays, with this thing, let me write this down real quick. Change the world. With this thing, it's not a far-fetched possibility that your whole world could completely change upside down overnight, just like that. And I think that's an important concept to realize, that when you're yelling and you're screaming and you're angry about stuff, or even when you're overly joyed about things, it could be stripped away from you in a second. It could be taken away from you in a second. You can get a phone call right now that your mom passed away. You get a phone call right now that your dad has cancer. You can get shit that completely takes your world and fucking puts you in a goddamn tornado and throws you out and crushes your face on the cement and then drags your body into the ocean. And I think a lot of people are just so scared that they are going to be called out, or they're going to get in trouble by somebody, that the only way to rationalize it is to save themselves, is to do it quicker to somebody else. And I think that's the state that we're living in. I think that is the long-term consequences of this technology, of social media, of just the internet in general. I think it's a beautiful thing for a lot of things. I think a lot of times people should be called out. Harvey Weinstein should have been called out. Bill Cosby should have been called out. These people should have been in trouble. But at the same time, you can't ignore all the other ramifications of it. You just can't. And I think we're trying to, desperately we're trying to, because we don't want to admit that we fucked up and that we continue to fuck up. But that's for a different time, right? That's for a different day. Yeah, I'm really fascinated to see. I think, fuck, that scared me. Why did that scare me? Shouldn't have scared me. I put it up. I literally just put it up. I'm really fascinated to see how the NFL season goes. Look at me. I'm starting to get into my football spirit, bro. Just kidding. I'm not much of a fan. I mean, I like the Packers. I enjoy watching football. I don't really do fantasy football. I'm definitely not doing it this year. And the reason why I don't do it is just because I don't really like doing things that I feel like I don't have a lot of knowledge on. I don't have a lot of control on. Hypocrite, because I'm talking about the market, the stock market. But I don't like to do things where where a huge amount of, luck and skill is involved. I don't know. I also don't like watching football and getting angry because my player didn't do a certain thing. It kind of ruins a football experience for me. I think I might do DraftKings maybe this year. DraftKings just got a huge stake from what's his name, baller Michael Jordan. I think just bought a huge stake into DraftKings, which is super clutch for them. DraftKings is like the online bookie company. No, it's my bookie. I don't know. I don't have any sponsorships, so it doesn't matter what I say. But I think that's going to be it, guys. I think it's almost a 40-minute podcast, but that's fine. Whatever. I don't want to stretch out the podcast just because there's a fucking number that I got, arbitrary number I got to hit. The one thing I do wish I've been doing a lot more lately, just hard to really find time for it, is I wish I was reading more. I'm struggling right now to read my books. Just my mind's wandering a lot of places. When I start reading, I start thinking, fuck, I got to do more homework, or, working a lot. It's just it's hard to find the time, but I since I haven't been reading that much, what I have been doing is working out a lot. So basically my days are like this, Monday to Friday. My days right now are I'm up at 4:30, between 4:30 and 5. I'm at the gym lifting between, 5:15 to 5:30. I'm done lifting. It doesn't matter if I get there 5:15 or 5:30. I'm done lifting by 6. I'm on the road. I literally get out of the gym, take my shirt off, lock the stuff in my car, and I'm gone. And I run. And today I ran 6.3 miles today. And it feels good, dude. It's the one thing that I've noticed. I slept in a couple of days ago, and I just felt I slept in Thursday, the 3rd of September, and I just felt, I don't know. I felt when you're on Wi-Fi, but you're not on 3 bars, you're on 2 bars. It's working, but it's not nearly as quick as normal. It's not functioning as it should be. You just feel off a little bit. You're kind of frustrated, but you don't really know why you're frustrated because you still have internet, but the internet is just not as good. I kind of feel like that's how I've been when I haven't been working out that hard every morning. But that's really helped me completely change my outlook on the days, and extends the days. And I like having long days. The older I get, this might be a really old person thing to do, but the older I get, the more I embrace the longevity of a day. I like having long days now. I don't like having the super short days, and it's really wild when I start thinking about how I used to get up, how me waking up early used to be 8 o'clock. That's fucking damn. How my my early mornings are 7:30 or 8 a.m. But now it's I will say this is not good, but Monday to Friday, I'm only averaging 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, which is, I get off at 10 and I'm not in bed by midnight, and it's, I know it's not good. I'm trying to convince myself. I should probably read that Why We Sleep book. So I can fucking be like, hey, Mike, you're falling apart, dude. Why are you falling apart? Don't do that, man. But yeah, that's that. I need to do more reading. I've kind of been struggling in that aspect. But, sometimes you got to make sacrifices. You got to delegate your time to other things. But yeah. That's going to be it, guys. I hope you enjoy this podcast. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm very happy. I'm so grateful that thousands of people have downloaded this and thousands of people have enjoyed it. And, almost hundreds of people have told me that they like it. All the interaction with the podcast, clips on Instagram or on YouTube or everything, it just means the world. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to do 2 of these a week. for a long time. I love you guys. Thank you so much for showing me love and helping out the podcast grow. That's going to be it for episode 120 of the show with me, Michael Labs. I'm in the process right now looking for another mic, the same mic right here. So, because I know when I had my girlfriend on, it wasn't the best quality, and I don't think I apologize for that. It's just the mics, man. When you have a mic like this, a Shure SM7B, it's hard to even have another mic. But I will get another mic, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months, and then we'll be firing away with more guests on the podcast because those are easier for me to do. I could talk a lot less. I like being challenged. I like saying shit and be like, and someone's like, "Well, what the fuck did you say?" So, but that's it, guys, for episode 120 of the Michael Lab Show. I'll catch you guys in episode 121. Fucking crazy, dude. 121 episodes. Thank you guys so much. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Hit that Robinhood link. Get a free stock. I love you guys so much. Peace out. See ya.